Good morning, everyone. I'm Denise O'Malley. I'm the founder of You Define Wellness, and welcome to another episode within the Defining Wellness Confab. If you've been following along, you know that we're doing 49 sessions over an 11-day period of time. What I'm doing is I'm introducing you to my health and wellness expert friends, and I thank you for joining. This is where I get to tell you a little bit about You Define Wellness. I'm already losing my voice, so we're going to see if we can get through this. What we are is, because a lot of people don't know what You Define Wellness is, we're a relatively new company, but we are a network of health and wellness professionals from across the United States. We currently have professionals in 8 states, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. And when people come to our network and join our network, you know that you're getting someone who has been vetted, and that we do criminal background investigations. We're checking their reputation. We're checking disciplinary actions against their licenses. So you know that you're working with a network of vetted professionals. And with this network, we can do a couple of things. We've created some products, and so we have an employee benefit product for the workplace so that your employees, if you are an employer, can access the types of health and wellness services they want. We also have a catalog of health and wellness education topics. So if you're looking for lunch and learns, or maybe for a community group, or even for a school, we have the people who can come in and talk about health and wellness. And launching during this confab is something called the Healthy Living Savings Card. And we created this for individuals, retirees, self-employed, people who work somewhere who don't have our employee benefit program in place, so that you can access the health and wellness services and products that you want and receive a discount on them. And that we have an introductory special offer of, it's only $49.50. It's a one-time fee. It's a lifetime fee. And that's a half price offer. And you can find out more information on our website at youdefinewellness.com. But the most important thing that I really want to share with you, and one of the things we're using this Defining Wellness Confab for, is to bring awareness of a nonprofit organization that is in the creation stage. And it's tentatively called the Holistic Healing Workplace Crisis Support Team. And what this is a network of health and wellness professionals that we can bring into the workplace after a crisis. Because when crisis hits, the experts say to bring in the counselors, and we know that's not enough, because trauma, both physical and emotional, reside in the body, and symptoms will manifest days, weeks, months, and even years later if not addressed immediately. So we will bring in people like acupuncturists, energy healers, chiropractors, massage therapists, and of course the counselors and psychotherapists as well. And to form this nonprofit organization, we are looking for donations. So if you are interested in helping the community by the creation of this support team, we encourage you to make a donation to paypal.me/youdefinewellness, and your contributions are absolutely appreciated. But the reason why we're here today is we're going to hear from Kathy Basel about stress, overwhelm, productivity, and the myth of work-life balance. So Kathy, welcome to the Defining Wellness Confab, and you can take it over.
Terrific. And I'm going to hop right onto my screen here to share a quick PowerPoint. So we've got 20 minutes, I understand, to share some things I know about stress. And stress is, I think everybody experiences stress. Just recently, it's become stress in its over chronic state. When we've got too much stress, is actually leads to a condition called burnout. And the World Health Organization just recognized that burnout is an official workplace phenomenon, because they found like 26% of people have so much stress in their lives that it's led to this chronic condition called burnout. So I believe that the underlying factor to a lot of this is we can't necessarily have control over the things that happen to us, but we can certainly control the ways we respond to it. And one of the most important things we can do is become masterful with the way that we control and manage our human energy needs. Now, I talk in terms of there being 4 core human energy needs, and this is true wherever you are, whether that's at work or at home. So we're going to be talking about people are concerned with work-life balance. this is you wherever you are. So the 4 core needs are physically, we want to look and feel good, but that means being nourished, rested, and feeling vibrantly alive. Secondly is emotionally. We all have a common human need to feel cared for, connected. We need to know that we're valued, and we need to feel open emotionally, like our hearts are open to connect with others. Mentally, the ideal is to be sharp and focused and engaged. Spiritually is something that we don't necessarily always get to. We're so consumed with the first 3, but really if we can take the time to nurture a sense of meaning and purpose, this is where we find the ultimate calm, when we connect with that something, the creation bigger than us, that has us know that we are part of an expression bigger in life, and that we're ultimately loved and cared for. Those are the 4 common needs. Now, there was a study done by Harvard Business Review and the Energy Project, and it was fascinating to me because in terms of the 4 core energy needs, 59% of people felt that they had none of their core energy needs met at work. 59%. So that's a huge chunk. Only 7%, and I don't know, yep, I can point here, 7% of them felt that they had all 4 core energy needs met. And this has a profound effect on how we show up in the workplace. So I kind of geared this a little bit because I know there might be some employers watching it as well as some employees. So physical energy is the first core energy. And one of the things that we need to recognize and be aware of and structure our day so that we're proactively working alongside of our bodies and our minds the way that we're geared to work. Physical energy, our bodies are set up as human bodies to move in 90-minute, it's called ultra-DN cycles throughout the day, meaning we shift from high cycles of alertness to lower cycles of alertness. Now, what happened during the industrial age is that we started pushing. It's almost like we were on the assembly line, and that working harder and pushing into those midnight hours would get more out of us. But what we're finding now, and there's more and more science that comes, is about productivity. It shows statistics like 51% of employees don't even take a break. They take 1 or no breaks throughout the day. So this is what that report had shown, is that employees who do take a break every 90 minutes are shown to be 40% have a greater ability to think creatively. And this just makes sense, because how many times when you're stuck in that mindset, trying to push, trying to concentrate, are you at a place to think creatively? No, oftentimes some of your best thoughts come when you're out for a walk, you're in the shower, you're at a stoplight in the car. So 40% chance if you take a break that you get away, have that pattern interrupt with forcing things to happen, that it opens time for you to creatively think. 30% felt a higher sense of well-being just by taking that break, and 28% were led to ability to focus even better. So what I did was connect this now to what are some ideas about what you can do to break that cycle of stress for yourself during your workday. And what I do as a coach is I work with people because we're all different. We all have different ways, but the things that we can do for ourselves that we can put on autopilot or that we can habitualize in some ways, because our minds are actually animals of habit. And if we can create habits and put them on autopilot, you don't even have to think about these anymore. So if you begin a cycle at work where you naturally take breaks every 90 minutes, move your body, maybe plug into some senses. It's great. I mean, for your eyesight, you don't want to be focusing on the screen all the time. To look up, connect with nature, that will do so much for reinvigorating you physically. Another thing is to eat and drink to nourish your body. So simple things like staying away from sugars and too much carbs, where those things ultimately don't fuel your brain. I love having a green shake with me all the time because this has the nutrition of 6 superfood salads along with some, like all the greens of like chlorella that help to detox your body. So I know that I'm getting all the nutrition I need for an entire day, right? And something simple. At the same time, I'm hydrating my body. So that's something super simple. The third is to just recognize that we are not machines. We're not meant to just go on end, constantly forcing and pushing ourselves. So over the, not just a day, to factor in those times of cycling between the work time and then that rest, but also structure your weeks and your months in the same way. So like Denise is doing this push. It's a 6-day focus for this project. And in between times, I know that she structured her days and her weeks to be able to reward herself at the end of this with some time to connect with the family and get out and, probably do some hikes and painting in the house kind of things. So that's how we need to set up our mindset around physicality. Another concept I like to promote with people that I work with is micro adventures. So it's simply taking, even if it's just half a day, to go someplace you've never been. Our minds are built for newness. And when you can expose yourself, whether it's reading something, some kind of idea that brings newness to us, it reinvigorates us physically. So that's the first of the 4 core energies. The second is emotional energy. People need to know, this is just, again, a core human need. We need to know that we are seen, heard, and appreciated, and to know that our opinions matter. So this can be something so simply incorporated into the workplace that oftentimes just isn't. So what the study had found is that only 37% of employees actually felt job satisfaction somehow, which is pretty low. Only 29% of the respondents felt that they had a sense of safety and trust, meaning that they felt okay, that their job was secure, A, but B, that they were able to emotionally share their feelings, their thoughts, their suggestions on job improvement to their bosses. So 29%, that's pretty dismal. Of those people, if you're feeling satisfied, these are the things that correlated with it. 125% greater engagement and 54% better focus. So just think about, if you're the employer, how simply helping to acknowledge your employees' needs to feel satisfied and safe, what a direct and quick correspondence that has with greater engagement and greater focus. So moving along as to from the employee's hat, what can you do? It's up to you. You don't be looking outside for your employer to provide the emotional energy you need. But some of the things that you can do from a simple to-do list is manage your to-do list in ways that helps you to feel more accomplished. Now, I think Windows and multitasking has kind of crazed our brains a little bit to think that multitasking is actually more effective, but they find that it's not. The more we can focus on one task at a time, the better efficiently you'll be able to complete that. But with that, from an emotional standpoint, what that means is that you'll get the emotional uptick of knowing that you've accomplished something. I know I can get into cycles where at the end of the day, I have worked and felt like I didn't accomplish anything because I didn't accomplish the things on my to-do list. A simple thing to do is to pick 3 core things to accomplish in any particular day. Maybe there's just one, but then to break that down into smaller bits so that you know that you can achieve that over the course of the day. What is something that's achievable at the end of the day? Another trick I like to do is with my to-do lists, I've got a little pad. So on the right-hand side, I've got the tasks that I want to complete that day. On the left, I'll write down the things that I actually accomplished. Because oftentimes, like the best laid plans of mice and men, we've got so many things that pop up over the course of the day. We end up doing those things. So we've achieved something, but if it wasn't on our to-do list, we don't acknowledge it as something that we've achieved. So there's a sense of dissatisfaction or frustration with ourselves that oftentimes, if that goes on, will lead to overwhelm. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, chunk things down. Another thing to do is simply to connect with others. This is the underlying factor to so much of the source of our stress, is just feeling disconnected. We're disconnected from ourselves, we're disconnected from others. And when you think of terms in terms of stress that goes on and on, what can we do to break that cycle? So the second idea that I listed here was 3 times a week to do something to connect with others. Expressing appreciation for somebody, just a simple thanks for your help on that project, or writing somebody a thank you note, can do a lot, not just for what the other person is going to receive from that, but for yourself. So if you created a habit over the course of the week to connect, another would be to connect with other people in the workplace, and maybe it's your boss, to help open up that dialogue so that you do feel safe, being able to at least express how you feel, not necessarily that they need to take all your suggestions perhaps, but that you feel a sense of safety in being able to emotionally connect with your boss to let them know how you're doing. So that's the second energy core. The third is mental energy. So in the realm of mental energy, our aim is to be productive, focused, and creative. And I put in here, bonus if we have a sense of ease. There were some startling statistics to me about the mental energy. 68% of employees reported having no time to consistently focus on one thing at a time. About just over a third said that they were able to effectively prioritize tasks on their list, and only 16% said that they regularly allocated time for creative and strategic thinking. 16%, which is just frightening when you think about why are hired and the contribution that each individual has to make on an organization. How much potential is already existing within the workforce for your employees to contribute. So here's how that translated into the terms of those who were able to exercise focus, prioritization, creative thinking. Of those, 29% had greater engagement in their work. And get this, 83% had greater likelihood to stay with an organization. Now think of the cost of having to replace employees, or just the lack of productivity if somebody's spending time looking for their next job because they are feeling that their mental energy is being drained or stressed in any way. So on the flip side, the employee standpoint, here's how you can proactively start to manage your mental energy. One of these things, and this is a challenge for me, I have to say, challenge yourself to focus in 25-minute time slots. Now, this is all out focused attention. That means turning off the cell phones and all the notifications that we've got around that might distract you, but 25-minute sprints of focused time. And it's amazing. We think that multitasking can be so effective, but they show even after focusing on just 2 things, there's an immediate drop off in how productive you are. So you'd be much better off focusing on one thing for just 11 minutes than to focus on 3 or 4 things for 2 hours. So get into that discipline, one thing at a time, however much time you can focus and sprint towards that completion of that item. It does a lot for your focus. It does a lot for your sense of accomplishment, that emotional payoff that you get with that as well. Another simple thing to do is to clear your desk at night. Okay, just clearing the desk at night. We want to make sure that we've got a mental bandwidth that allows us space to focus. And then schedule meetings in the afternoon, time when we're most creative in the morning. So schedule afternoon meetings. The fourth spiritual core energy is spiritual energy, and something that we don't necessarily think in terms of workplace. But this is startling. No single factor influences people's job satisfaction and likelihood to stay at an organization as much as feeling connected to their company's mission and finding a sense of meaning and purpose. Over 50% of the people did not derive meaning from their job. So for me, I put a term on that of soul sucking. So deriving a higher sense of meaning from the workplace is associated with 93% greater engagement. 93%. And then this is startling, 177% greater likelihood to stay with the organization. That's huge. So here were some of the things to do as far as finding your own sense of meaning. Be proactive in embracing the vision of your company. And then secondly was to think about your own values. And this is something we need to do regardless of where we are at home. We need to take the time to ask those simple questions of who am I? What are my values? What am I here to accomplish in the world? And how am I aligning with how does that align with my role at the company? So those are spiritual things. This is a model that I use when I work with people. It's a whole self-evaluation, and that's one of the things I wanted to offer to people. If you would like to take a simple test, this is something I think when we're talking in terms of work-life balance, if we can just do a simple little uptick in any one of these, it's all interrelated. And it starts in the center of with self-love, where we respect ourselves enough to put ourselves as a priority. Set yourself up for success, knowing that you are empowered to bring the energy of focus and accomplishment and joy to everything you're doing. And this is bringing it back to work-life balance. I think we need to take think of it in terms of life balance, because work is so integrated in everything we do now that we're connected so much. And here's the key, that all the small things matter. This is a quote of mine: bringing more balance to your life doesn't mean dramatic upheaval in your life. With the smallest intention in the right places, you can radically transform the quality of your relationships and the quality of your life and everything. So those small, in coaching, we call it the Kaizen steps, those simple things that we can do. And here's my quick thing for morning, daytime, and evening. The morning, I set people up with the simple, what I call the trifecta. Starting your morning when you roll out of bed, deep breathing. One of the best things we can do to energize our bodies, bring us focused, think of gratitude. Then follow that up with some intentional movement to get the juices flowing, and follow that up with a high protein breakfast, which is brain food, to set you up with energy throughout the day. Daily, I would just focus on connection. Those things, what can you do to show appreciation? What can you do to connect to yourself? Evening, there's nothing better than meditation. And I know a lot of people have challenges with meditation. So I created an evening meditation practice. It's a 20-minute thing that I would like to offer as a freebie to anyone who's listening. It has 4 stages that helps us to address 4 core things emotionally that we just don't typically do on a daily basis, almost like an emotional hygiene kind of a thing. We want to release on a regular basis the negative triggers that happen throughout the day, so that they don't spill out from day to day. Replace it with the higher vibing emotions of gratitude and joy. And then we want to be able to acknowledge ourselves. How many times do we stop to even acknowledge, you know what, I'm doing good today. I did good. And celebrate the good that we brought to life. And then lastly, it's just to tap into the energy and visualize, what is it that you want to create? What is your ideal life? What does that look like to you? So that's my keys for stress and productivity and work-life balance.
Wow, is that the end? You got another slide?
Yes. Oh, I've got one more. Essentially, it was an offer to anyone. This is how to contact me. Of course, you can always go to You Define Wellness and look for Kathy Basel at the Vitality Code. I'm one of the practitioners there. But my offer is a free stress busting kit, it includes that personal assessment along with some of my top tips and tools for simple things that we can do to become more present throughout the day. And then that evening meditation, which is a killer. It's a stress killer. And then from the company standpoint, I'd like to offer a free consultation with the companies to go in, learn about the culture, and see some of the simple things that they can incorporate. Oftentimes it needs to become a culture that's established from the top down in a company that work-life balance is, and rehumanizing, I think our workforce is important, and it's felt. It needs to be top down and embraced throughout the whole company. And then again, it can be so simple. You see all the companies that maybe in the 80s spent the money to invest in gyms. And because it wasn't, the managers weren't doing it, the people oftentimes didn't take advantage of it either. So once we can get a variety of programs so that the whole company can be involved in setting a new value around work-life balance, is key.
Wow. And I have so many thoughts going through my head, but first of all, I have to tell you that was a fantastic presentation. It was fantastic slides, gave the statistics, laid everything out clearly. You killed it in 20 minutes. It's time for you to go sign up for TED Talks, because I think that was really, really good. So, but one comment that I want to make for everybody who's watching this is that Kathy doesn't just preach it, she actually lives it. And I don't think I've ever been around anyone who is as good as her, as she is, in connecting and touching base and what can I do to be of service to you. And I know I appreciate those phone calls immensely. And I strive to get at Kathy's level one of these days.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. You're a giver. But it's an ongoing practice for us all. I was laughing the other day because, like you said, practice what you preach. And I'm working on a project, and it's, you have those times when it requires a little bit of that midnight oil kind of a thing. So I'm a mountain biker, so that's key value for me. And it was burning up all my daytime hours. I'm like, wow, I could feel myself getting resentful about the project. And I'm like, okay, what voice is that inside me? And I realized it was my inner child saying, I need to play. So I made an agreement with my inner child. Okay, Wednesday morning, we're going to get up early and go for a bike ride. And I was so excited. I got up extra early, did my ride, and I was still back at my desk at 9:00. And now I was more present, more creative. And it's just funny, so again, there is no such thing as balance. It never happens at one point in time. As soon as you're balanced, you're imbalanced in the next moment. So what are those things that we can continually stay present to, and just know it's a value? And I think an important part of that is going back at the end of the day, like how did I do? I try to presence 3 different words. For me right now, my words of focus are, it's focus, bold, and present. So I want to be open-hearted and present every time, everywhere I go with people. And so I check in and I set triggers for myself a couple, 3 times throughout the day. How am I doing? Am I being bold? Am I being present with people? So so work, reevaluate on a regular basis.
Just to phrase it a different way, is that we so frequently function on autopilot. We get up, we get dressed, we have our breakfast, we get in the car, we drive to work, we do our job, we, whatever happens during the day, we get back in our car. I mean, we're literally on autopilot. And what you're talking about is having intention. So stopping and just asking yourself, checking in with yourself, and having intention about what that moment is. Very much the theory of mindfulness that is the rage right now. And I think these are great tips and tricks, and love it. And great presentation. Thank you very much for doing it today and being on the Defining Wellness Confab. I don't have any questions in the chat box, so we're good on that. I think you covered almost all the bases. So one thing I am going to share last, because take Kathy up on her offer. When you're watching this, take Kathy up on it. There we go. It wasn't working for me for a second there. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yay. But if you're watching this on YouTube, seriously, pick up the phone, give her a call, shoot her an email, go to her website, and take her up on that offer, and to help get your life back in balance, or just, make sure that you're in balance. And it's an incredible opportunity. And if you are an employer watching this and you're in the Metro Denver area, you've got to bring Kathy in to talk to your employees. This is a great opportunity for them to help your employees get in balance. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's also going to help your bottom line, because you're going to have a happy, healthy, thriving workforce, and that translates to having a good, solid, happy, healthy, thriving company as well.
Yeah, and
So
right back at you with you define wellness. I mean, just that the act of that being provided for the employees is so much a statement in terms of how a company cares for
yeah,
its employees. And again, going back to that, the spirituality aspect of a business, showing that you care about the well-being of the thing of your employees is the number one factor, and upwards of 177%, greater engagement. I mean, that's a no-brainer in my book. But
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and that the range of services that you're offering for people to find well-being, and it's a whole world of wonderful ways to find greater presence, greater joy, greater vitality in your life. So
Absolutely.
kudos to all the great work you're doing, Denise.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And for those of you watching, I appreciate you for tuning in to this episode of the Defining Wellness Confab. And check our YouTube channel. Just simply go to YouTube and put You Define Wellness in the search bar. You will find all 49 sessions when they're finally uploaded. But we also have other content on there that we've been adding for a couple of years now, and there's some great stuff. So go check out our YouTube channel and follow us so that you can stay tuned with upcoming things that come up.
Perfect.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah, namaste.